Guys, let's make a pumpkin cake roll today. I've got my oven heated to 350. I've got my parchment paper on my cookie sheet. You just put it in there. You need just a little on the edges so you can overlap and so you can pick this up. This parchment paper came from Dollar Tree, 25 square feet for $1. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put our dry ingredients in one bowl, our wet ingredients in another, so let me get that started. I'll put this recipe in the description, or you can look up Libby's pumpkin cake roll. But again, it calls for half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a half a teaspoon of ground cloves. I just added that up, 1.5 teaspoons, and I put in 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, which is, if I can get it to focus, well, I can't, but it's cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and cloves. So this has some ginger in that didn't call for, but not enough for anybody to know. So I've got that in there with my flour and my salt. Now I'm going to mix up my egg, sugar, pumpkin, and vanilla. Hang on. Okay, this was my flour and my pumpkin pie spice and my salt. I whisked that all together. Then in this bowl, I've got my eggs, my sugar, pumpkin puree, vanilla, and I'm going to whisk that all together, and then I'm going to combine them. And you probably already do this, but just let me remind you. Wash the top of your lids of your cans before you open them, because you don't know who touched that at the grocery store. I'm sure you guys did that, but just as a reminder, wash your cans before you open them. And then, something else I was going to tell you is, this is all my baking type spices. The baking soda is going to go back in there. The baking powder is going to go back in there. Then I'm going to put my lid on this, and it's ready to pack and take down to my kitchen when I move. I'm just going to leave them in here when I move. I'm just going to slide that into the cabinet, because my cabinets have always been a mess with me digging through it, looking for the different spices and stuff. This has turned out to be really easy for me. I also have another plastic tub with my baking things in it, like cupcake liners, measuring cups, measuring spoons. That's where I have the parchment paper, you know, stuff that I need to use when baking. Then I have another one where I put all my cooking spices, like, you know, chili powder and Italian seasoning and salt and pepper and that kind of stuff. I put in another one. So if I'm cooking, I can just grab that tub and find what I want real quick. If I'm baking, this has my baking spices in it. So I'm just going to, when I move, I'm just going to leave them in that. Okay, I whisked all of that stuff up. Now I'm going to add it to my dry ingredients. It says fold together until combined, do not overmix. I haven't used a mixer for anything. I've just used my whisk and measuring spoon, stuff like that. And then you pour the batter into your prepared pan, which is just this parchment paper. And you bake it for 13 to 15 minutes or until, you know, it bounces back when you touch it. So let me get it baked. Okay. I only needed 2/3 of a cup of pumpkin, so I'm going to freeze the rest of this. I'm going to measure it out and put 2/3 in a baggie. If there's any left, I'll give it to my dog. My vet says pumpkin is excellent for dogs, especially if they have tummy problems. And these plastic canisters, I got at Dollar Tree. I have pretty ceramic canisters, but I like these better because the lid screws on and I can see what's in there. I just wrote on there with a magic marker what's in there. I like them. In my pretty canisters, I have napkins in one, and I have sandwich bags in the other, and I have tea bags in another one. But anyway, I just like these. And if you know anybody that works in a restaurant, they get things like mayonnaise and pickles and all kinds of stuff in gallon-sized plastic jars with a lid, and it's food grade. If you know anybody that works in a restaurant, ask them to give those to you. They're just throwing them away. And you can even get the pickle smell out. Okay, another thing, I got these at Walmart. You got a whole bunch packaged together, these plastic tubs, you know, and they have the snap-on lid. I have put all of my wooden spoons, my spatulas, my plastic ladles, you know, all the stuff that hangs on the wall at Dollar Tree, the great big plastic spoons, ladles, spatulas, all that kind of stuff. I have put in another box, and that I packed all these up a while ago, and I've still been, you know, using them because I haven't moved yet, and that's been much easier for me too than digging through a drawer. So I'm going to leave those in their plastic box. If you come to my apartment, you're going to see these plastic tubs in the cabinet. You open the cabinet and see those, but you know, it helps me. It makes things a lot easier. Okay, I'm waiting on that cake to bake. I took it out of the oven and immediately picked it up by my parchment paper and took it out of the pan. I can't do this and hold the camera, but I'm going to roll it up and let it cool rolled up. I'll show you. Don't take your parchment paper off. Just roll it up in there and let it sit and cool. Takes a little while because you can't put the cream cheese filling in there until your cake is cool, and you want it to cool rolled up. So I'll be back. Okay, this is going to be the filling. 8 ounces of cream cheese. That is vanilla I put in there, a teaspoon. Softened butter, and I'm going to put powdered sugar in it. Beat that up, spread it on the cake, and we're good to go. How I softened my cream cheese and my butter, that is twice as much butter. I've got to take some out of there. I just realized that's too much. This is a glass bowl. I filled it about halfway full of water, put it in the microwave for 6 minutes, got that water getting hot, poured the water in the sink, had my butter and my cream cheese on the counter, and put that hot bowl upside down over the cream cheese and let it sit long enough for me to go eat a bowl of soup, and it got it really soft. That's how you soften cream cheese or butter. Okay, hang on. Okay, I've unrolled my cake. I'm going to smooth out the cream cheese all over this. You don't want to get right to the edges because it'll squish out, but, you know, like within maybe half an inch. And then as I roll it back up, I'm going to peel the paper off like that and wrap the roll in saran wrap. Just a second. Okay, there it is rolled up. If you want it to look really pretty, you can slice this off so everything's even. Okay, there it is, all finished up, wrapped up in saran wrap. You have to have it in the refrigerator for at least an hour before you try to slice it so that cream cheese can get more solid, and it'll be ready to serve. Keep your leftovers in the fridge.